What's up, Iconic? Welcome in. Nice to see you. I'm just waiting here. I'm about to grab some stuff right quick, and I'm right here. Welcome in. I see some people are in the house. Hit the like button as you come in. Welcome to Justice React channel. We're doing a little exercise today called "Don't Worry, Let's Problem Solve." And So welcome in this good Sunday evening. I hope all is well with you all. Hey Denise Pratt, how are you? I hope this Sunday has found you and yours well. I hope everybody's having a great day so far. Uh, or so far we're going into the evening. Wow, it was a beautiful day for me. Hey Cheryl Wilson, how are you? It's been a beautiful day. Can't complain at all. Been around some of the channels this morning. I was with It's Gamma's World and then Loving Lucinda. And then the Safe Zone was on earlier. So a lot of good things happening, a lot of good information. So hope you guys were tuning in. And if not, just enjoying your Sunday as well. Let me see something. I don't know if this is going to work for me or not. But let me see something. I've never done it. I've tried it. Can never figure it out. But let's see. Let's see if this works. Oh man. I'm plugged in. Everything is plugged in. So I should be good to go for the most part. And I'll wait to see a few more people come in. And then we're going to get started. Um, Y'all please hit the like button as you come in and welcome in. Let's see. Let me go in here. And give me 1 second. That is awesome. I'm glad you're having a great day, Iconic. Let's see here.
That is awesome. I'm glad you're having a great.
Let's see. Let's see how this works. Okay. I'm trying to see how this works. I'm trying to see how you give the memberships away. I don't know how to do it on my phone, and I have never been able to do it, and I'm not sure if I'm doing it right. So, let's see. Oh, wait a minute, guys. My memberships have went up. I don't have 99 cents memberships anymore. Hold up. We gotta. Well, my memberships have went up to $1.40. Okay, y'all. So just to let you guys know, and not so surprised, because I'm looking at it for the first time, guys. I've seen that my memberships have went up, um, and I didn't do it. I normally try to keep 99 cent memberships, and I'm going to fix that, y'all. They have it at $1.49. They started my memberships at $1.49, and it's always always had 99-cent memberships. So I'm gonna try to go in here and fix it because I don't know anybody's budget, and I do appreciate everybody that have a membership. And if you can't afford it at that price, fine. If not, I am gonna make 99-cent badges as well. I can't stay long. I'm just talking a short break, taking a short break, then I have to get back to work. I appreciate you coming in, Iconic. Appreciate you coming. Understand, work comes first, most definitely, most definitely. But I'm gonna get started here. Just so I know Sunday and everybody is like working, with their family and stuff. And I do appreciate people taking the time to stop by. And thank y'all so much for your support. Hitting the like button. I got 17 people in here. I would encourage you all, if you can, reach over, hit that like button, type that screen. It's not going to cost you a thing. If you've been here longer than 30 seconds, go ahead and hit that like button. It's not going to cost you a thing, right? Somehow you're here more than 30 seconds. Unless you all plan to run out the same time, hit the like button. Okay, I would appreciate it. Much appreciated. Okay. So, so we're going to get started today. And the exercise we're coming in today. Last time we spoke, we talked about worry, depression, and anxiety, and how it impacts the body. And then we did an exercise called Blue Monkeys. And so again, just on the same page, and I'm hoping people, however you're dealing with worry, anxiety, and depression. Like I said, I'm not your therapist, your doctor. I would encourage you, if you're having any symptoms that have been long, ongoing, that's impacting your life in a way that you're not enjoying it, you're just not doing what you used to do. You don't find any sense of happiness. You maybe feel stuck, or just maybe you're just not feeling yourself. Something happened. Something may have caused these feelings. Anything could happen. Loss of any type of loss, grief, um, you know, whatever could be going on in your life that may have impacted your life, and you're not enjoying what you used to do. You're feeling more worried about things, more anxious about things, and you just don't feel the same. Or maybe somebody else is recognizing it, and you don't know. Because a lot of times things change. We have changes that we may not feel know it's happening, but our friends and family may notice things are different. You may not be interacting like you used to. You may not be calling. You may be isolating, and you may think everything is on point, right? But they may say things, know things different about you. You may be dressing different. You may be acting different, saying things differently. So they sometimes family and friends that are close to you may recognize certain things that you may not, right? A lot of times things could be going on that in our minds and stuff that we don't even know, that we don't even recognize the changes due to depression, anxiety, or just worrying, but other people can as well. So just take note. Hey, Miss Dimple J, how are you? Take notes that if you don't recognize it and you have a trusted friend or family member that can say point something out that they recognize, go please seek help. Talk to someone safe. Talk to someone that you can trust. You don't want to go talk to the friend that come tell you about everybody else's business, right? You should know the friend that you don't want to tell your business to is the friend that comes and tell you everybody else's business. Okay, warning, red flag. That may not be the safe person to talk to. Because if that person come tell you everybody else's business, what's going on, best believe that probably won't be the person to talk to about that particular situation, right? So find somebody safe to talk to, even a family member, a pastor, and even consider even talking to a therapist. I know a lot of times people put fake stigma on going to therapy and talking to a therapist because they want to feel like there's nothing wrong with me. I'm this and I'm that, and that means I'm weak, or people would talk about me. I'm telling you, okay. Your mental health is important. There's nothing wrong if you need help. Sometimes we just need that little extra support over the hump, right? So please feel free. Um, I went to therapy when I was 16 to 17 when we left my dad and felt it was a waste of time. Some people have some feelings about therapy, iconic. People have, people have different results and different feelings. I've spoken to young people, older people that went to therapy when they were young, and they thought it was a waste of time. When they're really young and they come back and they can remember their family members taking them to therapy when they were young and they felt it did nothing. And I guess, it's according to where you are, so no judgment there. Sometimes that is just may not be for you at that moment in time. Okay, and so, but most definitely, if you can, it didn't help you at all. Okay, and some people do feel that, right? Some people do feel that therapy don't help, and they kind of shun away from it. I don't know. Sometimes there's no connection with the therapist, or maybe the things that they are not ready to address. So many things can happen during therapy, and like I said, no judgment. I've been where people just don't feel that they're ready. And in my particular situation, in dealing with clients that would come, and if they're not ready, I don't pressure them. I let them come at their own time. I would make myself available to them because they're like not ready to talk. They wasn't feel so me backing off. And when I have a client that's not ready but coming for whatever reason, I would just leave the ball in their court. I would make myself available at the time that I was available, right? And you're just not gonna call me any time of night or day. But I made myself available to the point where, if you want to talk, if you feel you're ready, I can make that time for you. But again, I understand what you're saying, iconic. Sometimes it's just not ready for some people. Ms. Dimple says mental health is real. So that's why we're here today. So hopefully we can talk about things that you can use. Like I said, I'm not acting as a therapist. I'm not anybody's therapist, and I'm not anybody's doctor. I want to encourage, and that's my disclaimer. I'm just bringing an exercise that I have experience in using that sometimes can help, right? Until you may, like I say, it's not going to replace what you need. I'm not trying to do that. What I'm trying is bring an exercise, introduce if you're already in a place where you can do the exercise, but I'm not trying to replace any medications. I'm not trying to replace your therapist. I'm not trying to replace whatever things that you're doing. I'm not out here trying to replace it. I would suggest you do that. Anything that you're adding, anything that you're not sure about, talk to your doctor, your therapist, whomever you're getting any type of treatment with. Anytime you're introducing something, when you're taking medications or when you're in therapy, please, 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 please make sure you have these discussions with those people that you're working with. Like I said, I'm not interfering with anybody, therapist, therapy, or anything. This is not to replace that. This is not to replace what you're doing. Okay? This is an exercise that I can share. But this is no place replacing your treatment, okay? Your medication or your treatment. Let me make that very clear. I'm not trying to replace anybody's treatment or make it be anybody's therapist. Okay? I have to make that clear. And I'm not acting as a therapist as well. Just have information, education purposes only. Okay? Thank you, Icon. Icon says, now I'm good. My emotional state got worse, not better. Then when I quit going, I got better. Okay. 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 Understood. Understood. So, what I want to start the time out with is when we coming together right now is like probably is doing a little breathing exercise right now, and we can just, if you're in a comfortable spot, and hi everybody, how you doing, kind of take an assessment of where you are right now before we get started in the exercise, and kind of take an assessment of how you're feeling right now. If you're feeling good, that's great. If you're calm, feeling good, and you're in the moment, you're present, you're with your family, or you're by yourself, whatever, take a moment to be present and take an awareness of how you're feeling. right now. Just kind of do that. Kind of taking a moment to feel where you are right now in all of this. And sometimes you can sometimes find out where, if you are feeling a little stress or a little anxiety or a little worry, sometimes we feel it in parts of our bodies, right? Body, certain parts of our body. Sometimes anxiety and stress will show up in my back. Okay, for me, pain will show up in my back area when I'm stressing or worried about something, and I over worry, and I've not been in that state of mind um, for a long time. But when I was over worried and a lot feeling, one moment, y'all, one moment, Kobe, what is it? Hold for a second. When I was in that state where I was experiencing a lot of stress, I felt it in my back, in my lower back. All my stress would go, and pain would go in my lower back area, and it would also impact um, my lower back area. And if it got really, really just tense, it impacted my respiratory system. I'm feeling hot, calm, and collected. I'm feeling hot, calm, and collected. That's awesome. Iconic, awesome. Just being aware. So knowing where sometimes where you feel it at, feeling stress or worry. Sometimes you can feel it in your body parts, right? And like I said, I've felt it in my back area, and sometimes it starts to impact my respiratory system where I start getting bronchitis a lot. So sometimes it impacts your uh, stress and worry will make you sick, and it can impact your immune system, make you more susceptible to things that you may not be open to getting. You may find yourself getting more colds regularly, getting sick regularly, and it may be just due to stress. Worried about things, stress can be open your body up to more susceptible to pain, respiratory issues, and just illness in general. One moment, y'all. Let me go check on Kobe. Give me 1 second. I'm back, y'all. I had to let Kobe out. But yeah, sometimes that happens as well. But I'm back. Um, so yeah, so we're going to start with, once everybody takes an assessment of how they're feeling, we're going to get started with some. I'm very hot in my bones. It's very hot in my house. Oh, okay. Iconic says it's very hot in my house. Okay, you haven't turned the air, or you have an air source, air conditioning, or anything that you can turn on, or you're comfortable with your house being hot? Because some people like their house being hot. I'm going okay, says Miss Dimple. I'm going to go up front here with Kobe because he's doing the most right now. He's doing the most. Can't be out of his eyesight. So I'm gonna go up here with him. Dang boy. Swear if I get out his eyesight, he will lose it. No, no. Have a seat. Be seated. Grab your chuck stick and stuff. No, sir. No, sir. So we can start with the. Oh, y'all have the window unit and fan going. That's awesome. I hope it gets better. I can't wait. It's so hot right now. I just can't wait until fall because it's ugly outside right now. It's extremely ugly out there being with the heat, and it's miserable. So I just thank God that I have the central air, central heat situation going on, and it's been so it's been so hot. I dropped the temperature down to 68, and I hate to see with my light bulb. Not comfortable, but it's fine. Okay, iconic. I can't wait until fall gets here. My favorite weather is spring, and after that is fall, and I can't wait for fall. And I can't wait to get out of the south sooner than later. So what I want to do is um, 93 degrees. Yeah, it's about that hot here. Y'all can hear Kobe breathing. Uh, so um, we're going to do some breathing exercises, and then we're going to get started into the exercise we came to talk about. Now, last time we talked about how what happens when we worry and stuff. Um, but let's do the breathing exercise first, and then and then we'll finish with some exercises after that as well. So if we can find a safe, nice, comfortable spot to sit in, down, off my chair, off. You know better. Down, y'all. When he stands, he's a good 4 feet tall. Down. He looks to be. I may be exaggerating, but when he stands on two, he is tall. Kobe. No, no. Mm-mm. You all over the place, y'all. Let me put him up for a second, cause he all over the place, and he might start running around the place. And here he goes. I see you. No, do not go in that kitchen area. You know better. You know better. Sit down. Good boy. Good boy. Come on. I got something for you. Come on. Come on. Come on in. In. I got something for you. Okay? You gonna be fat if you don't cut all this out. Okay? I'm gonna give you a little piece of it. You can't get a whole. Here you go. Okay? I swear he don't know when he's full. He don't know when he's full. I like fall because my birthday is in the fall. Okay. Okay, so we're going to take a minute or two to do this little breathing exercises. This little breathing exercise, not exercise, this little breathing exercise. So if you can find yourself in a nice settled place sitting, um, and just kind of relax your shoulders. Allow yourself to feel relaxed. Allow your shoulders to drop and relax. Kind of straighten out your back a little bit. Find your normal breathing pattern rhythm. Allow yourself to be calm. Sense calmness. And we're going to inhale for 4. We're going to hold for 4. And then we're going to exhale for 6. So we're going to inhale for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 6. And we're going to do 5 rounds of that exercise just to get in a relaxed state, just to feel calm. And then we're going to go into the other exercise. So if you want to join me and you're ready to receive the exercise, please feel free. I'm going to be doing the count on it. Allow yourself to relax, allow yourself to feel safe, and I'm going to get started. Give me 1 second here. God is good. God is good, 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 good. Thank you, Jesus. God is good all the time. Woo. Okay. I'm back. So we're going to get started and we're going to inhale. God is with me. And like I say, I don't know your faith, but this is how I do it. And you can say anything you want to say as you inhale. If you have something that you want to say, you don't have to use my words. You can just inhale your words, hold your words, and release your own words. But this is where I'm at. So here we go. Respectfully, not ignoring anybody else, but respectfully. Inhale for 4. God is with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Peace surrounds me for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. I release my worries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once again, inhale. God is with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. His peace surrounds me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. I release my worry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once again, inhale. God is with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Allow the peace and calmness to enter. Allow your body to relax. And if your mind is wandering, let the thoughts come in, acknowledge them, then let them flow out. Again, whole peace surrounds me. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once again, inhale. God is with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. His peace surrounds me. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale. I release my worry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And one final time. Again, inhale. Allow to enter. God is with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. His peace surrounds me. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then exhale. I release my worry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? In ending, you can say as you take one deep breath. One moment, y'all. Y'all forgive me. Kobe is 1-on-1 today. So as you do one deep breath, I choose peace over fear. Inhale. I choose peace over fear. Exhale. I choose peace over fear. Okay, awesome, awesome. I hope you can open your eyes. I hope everybody is feeling just a little bit better, taking an assessment how you felt when you came in and how you feel now. Um, so that's where we are. Um, hey, Trisha Browser, how are you? So again, just kind of going back to what we talked about last week and just trying to let talk about how worry and anxiety affect our body. When we become anxious, our brain sends a signal that releases, um, and this is something I always talked about. I'll let me pull it back up here. Okay. It's like being in a car, like how we feel anxious is like keeping your foot on the gas pedal the entire time, especially if you're consistently anxious and worried. And this is when the body, when we releases it, when we finish fear, and when we get in a situation where we have a moment of fear, maybe hitting the brakes real quick, somebody pulls out in front of you, that body is going to do everything. Your heartbeat is going to rise. You're going to be in that panic state. But imagine being there in that state all day, almost every day, especially if we're worried and concerned about things. Sometimes there are things we're worried about that we have no control over, and we tend to get in that place where we just worry about it. It could be anything: finances, our kids, anything, any change, any loss, anything can impact how we're feeling. So we kind of identify putting your foot on the gas pedal and holding it there the entire time and then driving around in that state, and you're not going anywhere but the engine continues to rev up, right? We're sitting in that spot and our engine just runs and runs and runs. Imagine that. Imagine getting in the car in the morning and pressing the gas pedal and just hearing that engine. That's how sometimes the body acts or feels like when experiencing not only worrying but intense anxiety. um, your heart beats faster, your breath becomes shorter and quicker, your muscle tightens, and your stomach becomes upset, have trouble sleeping, racing thoughts, man. If anybody ever experienced racing thoughts or just racing, just keep mind just going over, or even ruminating just over and over again. Um, so when we tend to slow down while breathing a little bit, it kind of ease off the gas pedal. So worrying keeps our body at high alert at all times. That was nice, but I have to go get back to work. Okay, not a problem, Iconic. Thank you for coming in, and I appreciate it. Have a rest of a good evening at work. So one of the exercises that we're going to talk about today as we move on, because I know I just wanted to come out and just kind of come back and talk about, because a lot of things are going on in the world. A lot of things are happening in the world, and sometimes we just don't know what other people are going through, but they're here with us. And though they may not share what they're going through, at times they may not be able to always, talk about it, because sometimes it's not a safe spot on the YouTube. We can't come here. Sometimes people say, well, why do people come to YouTube with their problems? Why do people feel that they want to share things? Well, everything is not safe to we've learned here as we have been on here long enough. YouTube is not always a safe spot, safe place to share things that you may be experiencing in your life with your family or anything. Um, at points in time when you're willing to share, you have to be conscious that of the blowback that could happen, because some people are not listening. Some people are not here to listen, to be a YouTube supporter or quote unquote a YouTube friend. Some people are just listening to gather information to use later. So you have to be mindful of this. So anytime you come on YouTube, be conscious that everything can't come out here. That's a lesson learned. All right? Because sometimes we people tend to ingratiate themselves, listening, encouraging you to talk, encouraging you to share. They share a little bit of information, and at the same time, a lot of people are not there for that. They're there just to gather information about you so they can use it against you later, and that's sad. That's a sad situation, but that's a part of it and being on this channel. So be very conscious. And that's a shame we have to be in that space, but this is where we are in this world today. So unfortunately, and like I said, if you're not able to, you want to share and you want to talk about it, you can find somebody, for hopefully safe to talk to. But you can also learn something on YouTube. There are a lot of people that bring great exercises and good information to YouTube to help, not to replace, but to add. Okay, not to replace, but additional information that if you can use it, but make sure it's something that you can use, right? So we're going to talk about don't worry and problem solve, because a lot of times we get stuck in the worry and we forget to find out how to problem solve, right? If you're in the chat and you're listening, how do you think about that? How many times have you possibly got into the situation of just worrying and it took a minute to get to the problem solving? I can be honest with that. There are times when I've gotten stuck as as a human being, and I started to worry, and then problem solving comes in a minute or so. But it's just according to what's going on, right? It's according to what's going on. Because sometimes we're just not ready to problem solve. We want to be in that space for a moment sometimes until it hurts, okay? Sometimes people be in that space until it hurts. You know how sometimes, how somebody would tell you, we sit there until it hurts. You hurt long enough, you're going to get up out of there, right? Sometimes the right type of pain going to move you. Sometimes we sit at a place until it hurts too much. Sometimes, until when the pain gets real enough, we'll move. Now, how much tolerance you got, I don't know. How am a whole vibe? How are you? So sometimes we'll sit in a space until we can't sit anymore. Sometimes it takes that to get up and move. Okay? Sometimes that place where we sit, sometimes we sit there too long. But hopefully we can get to the problem solving stage, right? Because sometimes that's where we just got to cross into that door of problem solving, because we got several doors we can walk through when we're dealing with stress, worry, anxiety, depression. There's so many different doors that may become available, and just sometimes accessing those doors is right there. And like I said, sometimes there's an answer, and sometimes there's just accepting and finding ways to move on, right? Sometimes there's an answer for certain things, and sometimes there's acceptance, and sometimes there's adapting and just being able to open the next door and step through and move on, okay? But everybody's saying hi. So yeah, so don't worry, problem solve. So this is an exercise, and what it does is, and I'm gonna kind of read a little bit for you guys. And sometimes, like saying, at least one of the reasons we tend to worry a lot is because we want control of our lives. We want control of our life. Worrying is when we can't take control. We don't know how to take control, and we don't know how to release control, right? Give me a 1 in the chat if you agree. Hey, Black Coffee or not. Sometimes worrying comes from not having control, not knowing how to gain control, and wanting control and not recognizing you don't have control and it's not yours to control. Okay, and that's part of worrying. And Bonnie says I'm a worry wart, and sometimes I would always say the half of the battle is acknowledging it. Being a worry wart, I'm a worry wart. Okay, acknowledgement, that's what I am. Now, acknowledging, what do I want to do about it? Okay, do I want to do anything about it? Am I good with it? Or what do I want to do about it? What can I do about it? Okay? So when acknowledging first half of the battle, acknowledging what is the problem. I am a worry wart. So that's the first part. You know what you are. You can identify the issues that making you a worry wart. I worry about what? What am I worried about? And are these things that you don't have to worry about? Maybe. What? How do you look at them? I'm trying. And there you go. First part of anything is trying. Okay? And no judgment, we try. Sometimes I call them my little worry babies. Okay? I used to call some, not to their face, but I call them my little worry babies. Sometimes we just got people that are going to worry. You know that some babies are bone anxious. Some people are like you little anxious babies, right? And sometimes that's just what it is. But again, no judgment. I'm trying. And sometimes just trying and getting through the day and accepting the situation and then getting through the day. What helps you to get through the day that you can be productive, that you can still continue on in life? What are some of the things, even though you acknowledge your worry, what works for you? Bonnie Mitchell, what works for you? That acknowledging that you're a worrywart, but what works and what don't work? What helps you get through the day? What are some of the skills or things that you have learned, even though you identify as a worrywart? What have helps you to function? What helps you to move through the day, be productive, get things done? Okay? Just acknowledging those parts as well. Sometimes just taking it step by step. I'm a worrywart, but I'm able to get this done. I was able to get this thing through my worrying. Even though I worry, I have learned to be able to move throughout my day. Probably put the worry aside for a little while by saying, and sometimes that works. You correct. If it's not going to cause you anything, if it's not going to cause you your harm or anybody else harm, then F it. We know what she's saying. F it, right? If it works, it's not taking anything from you, it's not causing you any harm, it's not causing anybody else any harm, and this is something you can say, you know what? I'm not gonna worry about it. What can I do about it? Is this nothing's gonna can take my life, somebody else's life is not gonna hurt me, then F it. What am I worrying about? And sometimes you have to take that approach. I've said F it. Leave it right there. What can I do about it? If I've already looked at it, twirl it around in my little head, try to figure out like myself, my personality will let me tug at it, try to go every which way but let it loose. Then I finally said, F it. Ain't mine to worry about anyway. And I had to get to that point. I had to get to that point. I'm not gonna worry about it. F it. Just straight like that. F it. If I put my attempt into it and especially if it's about somebody else, if it's about anybody else, it's gonna be F it. Figure it out. But I know what your effort mean, right? Sometimes it's gonna be just figure it out. Because if I done put my head in it, I done lost a couple nights sleep on it, it's gonna be, let me pray on it, let me release it, let me let it go, because I'm gonna sleep. All right? So it's gonna be effort. First Peter 5, chapter 5, 7 said, throw all your anxiety on him because he cares for you, most definitely. And I have been learning to do that. My sister-in-law cast it to God because guess what? He promised he'll take care of it. And it's a learning. Sometimes we learn to let go. And sometime again, as human beings, we go right back and pick it up. Some of us have gotten good at just letting it go. Cast, give it to God. He said, give it to Him. Don't worry. And some of us have gotten real good at that. And some of us, it's a practice. Most of our life, it will be a practice. Sometimes it's going to be just what it is. And we just have to keep practicing. And don't beat ourselves up and give ourselves grace, because if we're not there and we're still working on it, don't beat yourself up. If somebody tells you, oh, you just, because a lot of times, and I'm going to say this, sometimes our friends, and let me say this, sometimes when we have friends that do practice, and myself is excluded, sometimes we got to understand people are not there yet. Sometimes, even though we know how good God is and His promises are real, sometimes we have to give people grace and understand they're not there yet. They're not there yet. And so I'm always going to give people other tools, because sometimes they're just not there yet. They're not. So a lot of times I meet people that are Christians and they're good Christians, but they're just not there yet. And even for myself, sometimes I'm there and sometimes I'm not. So it's according sometimes to the situation. I know His words, I know He promises, and I know He doesn't lie. But it's just that flesh part, that human part, that sometimes let you pull right back into that state of mind of, hey, let me try to fix it first. And then you got to learn how to get out of your own way, right? So again, meeting people where they are sometimes. And we talked about that. This was such a good topic. If you guys hadn't touched Gamma today, it's Gamma's World. And we talked about forgiveness. We talked about sin. And we talked about so many different things. And a lot of time we talked about judgment. And judgment is so easy. Even though a lot of people think they don't judge, we probably do. I would say, if you're saying you never judge, I don't know. I can't question. Let me say this here, because judgment doesn't have to be on a big scale. Judgment can be just as small as tilting your head to the side and looking at somebody when they're telling you something, and and you're like, yeah. So we talked about a lot of things. And but again, as human beings, is a practice. Let go and let God. That's a practice. Let go, and that's a promise. Letting go, get in the sign of letting go. And I promise you, that is a work of mine, this letting go. Letting go and trusting Him that He got it. He knows best. Right? I'm a whole vibe. Hey, Candy Jones. Thank you. So we're going to look at least one of the reasons you worry is that you want to have control of your life. You're trying to increase the likelihood that things will turn out well and decrease the likelihood that things will turn out poorly. So a lot of times when we worry, we want the best for anybody, ourselves, for everybody. We worry about our kids. Sometimes we worry more about other people than we worry about ourselves. We worry about our loved ones. We worry about our friends. They may call and tell us something, and then we pick it up and we think about it. We try to help them. We try to find things, and then, we may get that call from family members that come and tell you a story, and you listen to the story. You might be concerned. You might be that person that worry about them, and then you may go out your way worrying more than they worry. They just call to tell you the story, and now you find yourself later. I have what is it? See y'all gotta go. Okay, I'm a whole vibe. Hey, grateful too. What's up? Let God and let go. Most definitely. Hey, Candy Jones. Later. I'm a whole vibe. So grateful, says Candy. So again, just allowing, uh, sometimes it's just us trying to fix it. Trying to fix it, right? Trying to fix it ourselves. And that's just part of being human. Learning, from a spiritual point of view, learning to let go, and also on the human side, just recognizing we can't fix everything. We can't control everything. So on every aspect, it's looking at it from the spiritual side and looking at it from the human aspect. We just got to understand we can't fix it, right? We can't fix everything. We just can't. We just got to accept that fact. And sometimes we worry about those things that we can't fix. Sometimes people call us with their problems, and they kids call, family members call, and how do you deal with it? How do you deal with when a family? Let me ask anybody in the chat, when a family member calls, maybe your kids or maybe a relative or a friend. How do you handle that situation when it's deep? When it's really deep and they're asking you for help? How do you feel when probably you can't help, or maybe you have helped and you just feel that it's an ongoing situation and you have done all you can, or maybe you want to help and can't help? What and looking at it honestly, how does sometimes does it make you feel when people call and you can't help, or you have help and you just can't keep doing it? What does that feel like? Because that's part of worrying, right? That's part of worrying, about things. You want things to turn out well for them. You want things to turn out well for yourself. And give me a one in the chat if you think worrying interferes with problem solving. Give me a one or two in the chat if you think worrying interferes with problem solving. Two, it does not. Whoop-de-doo says worrying interferes with problem solving. Okay. Worrying interferes with problem solving. Candy Jones says the same thing. Worrying interferes with problem solving. It tends to kind of put blinders on, right? We tend to focus on the problem and not the solving. We tend to, hey, it's Gamma's world. So one in the chat if you think worrying gets in the way of problem solving. If it kind of gets you stuck a little bit and you can't see you can't see beyond the worrying. Hey, it's Gamma's world once again. Gamma says one. Yeah. Get a one in the chat if you think once you tend to stop worrying and you start to settle down, take some deep breaths and start to calm down, start to relax, and you start to allow that sensation and anxiety and worrying to go down, that you tend to start to think a little bit clearer. One is definitely interfere. One is a must. It definitely interferes with Simply Red. It does. Studies showing that worrying does interfere with problem solving. It gets in the way. It gets in that stuck sense because your mind is constantly going over and over what is going on, and I want to fix it now. I want it done, and your mind is not. So I think once we start to calm down, breathe, relax, put it down for a moment, and let it go, maybe we'll get clear. Maybe clearer mind will come through. Things will come through. Um, Ideas will start to come through once we settle the mind down. The anxious thinking and the ruminating thoughts and child. Once we start to just calm the mind, right? Anybody feel if you agree or disagree? Once we tend to start to put it down, let it go, understand that we may not have any control of this situation. It's not ours. It may be belong to us, but there's nothing we can do about it at this time. Worrying, and if we tend to, it probably some ideas will start to come. I know, okay. And sometimes not all worries can be solved through problem solving. Sometimes we just got to learn how to manage. I'll just watch a good movie. Watching a good movie helps, says Bonnie Mitchell. Yeah. Sometimes worries aren't amenable to problem solving, but many are. One very simple approach to managing worry is to think about what you can do about it and whether you believe any of these things worth putting into action. Sometimes it is just what it is. Sometimes it's just a matter of acceptance. What can you do? Sometimes it's no fixing. Sometimes it's just worrying about something that's not even a problem to be solved. Sometimes you got, what's going on? Well, if there's nothing you can or want to do about your worry, it's completely useless. Basically, there are three things you can do with a worry: do something, do nothing, or plan to do something later, or plan to do something if and when it's needed. Okay, that sounds good. Y'all, tell me what you think about this. Almost certainly, you have experienced times when you have stopped worrying about something, began to relax, and then solutions pop out. But what do you think about this? There are three things you can do with a worry: do something, do nothing, or plan to do something later, or plan to do something when it's needed. And if I'm not gonna worry about it until I have to. If I don't have to worry about it now, there's nothing I can do. Like Bonnie said, F it. Okay? What do you think? What do y'all think about that? Has anybody ever practiced worrying exercises before? Have anybody ever practiced? Gamma, you may have had some exposure to it. It works for me, says Bonnie Mitchell. I leave it up to God. Sometimes that's where you got to put it. I've learned, I have been actually, there are things that I know that I have no control of. And I promise you, those things that I have released to God have allowed me to put my head to bed, rest at night. I promise you, because if I didn't, I would not be able to. I would not be able to rest. I would not be able to rest if I did not. Um, and like I said, a lot of people are able to do it just like that, and some people struggle with it. And like I said, um, you know, just meeting people where they are and letting that somebody encourage me the same way, letting God have it, let go. And sometimes it's the hardest thing to do in the world, letting go, putting that safety net up. I used to put the safety net up. How many of us used to put safety net up, especially for our kids? How many people learn to put up safety nets? We want to catch them all the time. We want to put up safety nets. Then we realize, hey, when they get to a point where you can't put up safety net and you have to let God be the safety net and get out his way so he can do what he needs to do, because sometimes we get in the way of people while God is trying to work. We sitting up there running in front, throwing up all the nets. So we tie these things in. So when I'm talking, I guess I am tying a little bit more with the study, what I'm doing here, and with everybody here. I tend now to more tie in a little bit more faith in God with it, right? Because I talked about setting up safety nets, and sometimes trusting God, you pull back and let him deal with that situation, right? You let him work like you said you're going to let him work. Because if you interfering, he can't. God can't work. And now you got all the safety nets, and you running around with what y'all know. Ever seen a fireman with a blanket under the telling somebody to jump from a building? Y'all ever seen that happen? Where you have a fireman holding a blanket and they're telling the people to jump. Think about you probably as a parent running around with a blanket. Okay? Thank you, Gavin, for the floating heart. Think about you as a parent at one point running around with blankets. Especially you've had kids that probably you've been running around with a blanket. Oh, I gotta catch him. Oh, I gotta catch him. Oh, I gotta catch him. Hey, I ain't gonna let him fall. We worry about our kids. We worry about our family members. And we run around with a blanket like the firemen under the building. Right? So, um, what do you? So thinking about like that. So allowing helpful ideas to exercise. So one of the exercises that we can do when worrying, and if anybody else has anything they want to offer in, please feel free. Hey, charge it. Oftentimes when I find myself worrying, God has already worked it out. I just be behind. Happy Sunday, Justice. Okay, charge it to the game. And most definitely. I used to worry about a lot, but found that there's never resolve. It never resolves anything. It don't, unless we start tend to, like we say, release it to God, or just try to do things a little differently than just worrying until we sick. I know what stress and worrying about things and in the younger days when how it impacts the body and how it impacts the mind. And so most definitely I can attest to what worrying about and what stressing could do to the body. Exercise, allowing helpful ideas to arise. Get yourself relaxed with meditation, breathing, muscle relaxation, or doing something you enjoy that relaxes you, such as reading, gardening, or getting the hot tub or bath. So there's a lot of things we can do to distract ourselves when we tend to worry. And worry doesn't have to look like a big ball of worry. Worrying can become in so little moments, right? Because when I think about worrying, I don't think about just everything has to be an explosive moment. It can just be those little things that nag at you. It don't have to look like the world is coming to the end and Chicken Little is running around. It could be little nagging things that keeps coming back to your mind. Things that you just may worry about a little too often sometimes, but it's not in the magnitude of Chicken Little running around with a head off. Think about your worry. Keep your mind open to possible solutions. If negative thoughts are interfering, then go to step 3. Okay, so think about worrying. Keep your mind open. Sometimes worrying tend to close out. We talked about that. Sometimes we may not be open to solutions. Sometimes we may have a friend or a family member, or even if you go to a therapist, you may not be open to those things yet. You may go to all the steps. You may go to the pastor. You may go to the church family member, and you tell them your problem. But unfortunately, sometimes all we want to do is talk about the problem and agree. If you agree with me sometime about this, sometimes we want to talk about it, but we're not open to solutions or resolution yet. Sometimes we're just at the talking stage. One in the chat if you agree or disagree. Sometimes when we worry and we're stressing, sometimes there are people that are not looking for advice. They're not looking to problem solve. They're not looking for a resolution. They're just looking to talk about the worry. One in the chat if you agree or disagree, or something if you agree or disagree with it. If you know something, tell me what you think. Thank you, Gavin, for the floating heart. Um, what do you think? Have you met people like that before where they just want to talk about the problems? You may have had some advice. They don't want to hear advice. They just want to ruminate or talk about the problem. They just want to complain. Hey, have you met somebody like that before? Do you know anybody like that that's not ready to problem solve? And sometimes they just stay within the negative thinking. Well, that tends to happen after each. So one of the things you can do if you're worrying and it tends to have a lot of negative thoughts, you can label the thoughts as helpful, or you can look, is that thought helpful or is that thought not helpful? Uh, so kind of like focusing in, being present on the thinking, challenging the thoughts. What is it doing? Is how is it helping? Is it a helpful thought or is it a not so helpful thought? Um, and sometimes labeling those thoughts will decrease the intensity, right? And sometimes even go away. It clears the mind for more helpful thoughts. So we tend to start labeling these thoughts that we're having to worry about as helpful. Once we recognize and identify those thoughts, sometimes it can decrease the intensity of the thought, which lowers the worrying and the stressing, and it allows more room for the good thoughts to come in, problem solving thoughts if it's there as well. Let's see. So, what do you guys think about the exercise so far? The like I said, I have an exercise that we're going to do, but I'm going to see what everybody thinking. I'm not getting a lot of feedback. I'm not sure, uh, you know, if the exercises are if anybody is actually interested in the exercise, and if not, you know, it's cool. I came in late. You came in just in time. I think you were able to pick right on up where we were and the worrying. Pretty much, it was just how I think you came right at the top. How worrying is just um, is there a way to problem solve through worrying, right? And I think you came in like, you know what, I turned it all over to okay. I hadn't done the exercise yet. We were just talking about problem solving and different ways people approach it and control it. And like you were saying, not turning over to God and letting Him take control of it. That's one of the way you face, how you face with worrying, or you don't worry, because what you do is that you definitely turn it over to God. Like if I don't have any control over it, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna let God handle it. And most people, I think, on the whole vibe was in the same way. A lot of charge it. A lot of the group people in the group here, very spiritual wise, state that what, I'm not gonna worry about it. If I can't control it, if I have no control over it, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna turn it over to God, and that's the over sense. The what I'm getting from it in this group is that a lot of people think like that. A lot of people think just like that, and I'm in the same belief. A lot of times, it helps me. So even with these exercises that I'm about to talk about, there is no problem, in your face of like, you know what? I'm turning it over to God. I'm not going to do it because trust me, I said the same thing. I know all these exercises, but what works for me as well is having that talk with God and believing and giving it to Him. Okay, that is one of the main things that definitely works for me as well. So we can have all these toolbox, but it's what works for you. What works for you. Having extra tools are just one thing, but what works for you is what really matters. What do you recognize? What has worked in the past? What works now? Sometimes things that we did in the past don't work. A lot of exercises that we have tend to use, sometimes we don't use them to the point that, hey, we got to develop new tools. And sometimes the final thing is, sometimes people get to the point they done did everything, and the only thing they got now is God. They done did everything to man. They done did all the practices. And they final thing, I'm going to try God. I'm going to try God. I done tried everything else. Let me try God. And sometimes that's where it is. Sometimes that what's have worked for people has worked for some of my clients. I done everything, but I'm gonna try God now, and it's what works for you, right? Um, so getting into another way of looking at another way to problem solve is to brainstorm all possible solution. The more people we involve in brainstorming solutions, the more likely you are to reach the best solution. Um, so the exercise this is going to involve when we, and this is the exercise we're coming into now. And sometimes some people may find this a little weird, right? So in problem solving, and this is just one exercise here. Um, if you have a worry, if you think this worry is amenable to problem solving, what is that worry? So if you're in here today and you're listening in and you're still worried about something, think about a worry that you think problem solving can work. What is a worry that you think problem solving can work? Is amenable to problem solving. So again, if you have the exercise, think about an exercise that is amenable to problem solving. And then, so one that you can say, I'm willing to try problem solving with. And then think about what have you tried so far to problem solve. What are some of the things you have used to problem solve as well? Uh, I know people are just listening in. So basically, like, so brainstorm below are possible things you can do, even if they are illegal. So sometimes, if we're worried about something, what are some of the things that you can do to problem solve, even things that are considered illegal, unethical, or impractical? Remember that including these ideas can help you fuel greater creativity to lead to a most useful idea. So if you can write a worry down, something that you worried about, and then think about what you have tried, and then get a piece of paper and write all the things that you could do to resolve this issue. Whether it's unpractical, illegal, unethical, write all the problem solving, good, bad, and ugly. Okay? So I took at all possible outcomes and then lean toward what's making more sense, but ultimately pray. Okay, so same thing that I'm talking about. And you do it through probably the thought process. I look at all possible ideas. That's what I'm talking about. What are the possible outcomes? Writing down all the solutions, everything, and then crossing it out, and then what works best. What is, but ultimately prayer. Pray. That's it. So again, same thing with the exercise. Just listing down all the stuff that how you approached it, how you approached this problem. Unethical, ethical, good, bad, and the ugly. Cross out everything. And Gamma says she comes to pray. Praying works. And and not judging and not giving yourself grace. But all sometimes that's what it's just taking, just writing it down, kind of like focusing on what I can do. If it is amenable, if it's amenable to problem solving. Sometimes it's just what it is. It's just gonna be a worry that you can say effort to, right? Just sometimes it's just gonna be effort. I like that what Bonnie Mitchell say. Sometimes it's just gonna be effort. Like, what can I do? I can either I can solve it, I can worry about it later, I can just F it. Hey, Linda Sample, and sometimes that's just what it is. You got some choices. You could F it, There ain't nothing to it. It's just something I can't worry about. It's nothing I can do to control it. It's out of my hands. It's not for me to worry about. Or if I need God, turn it over to Him. Uh, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna trust God to handle this one. And the other one is just F it. Okay? I'm not even concerned about it. It's not nothing I can do about it. And it's nothing I want to do about it. I choose not. I don't want to do nothing about it. And sometimes just being able to say that will release it. Don't have any. I'm just not going to worry about it. It's nothing I can do about it. It's nothing going to impact me. It's not going to, if it's not going to have any type of impact, I'm not going to worry about it. What is it I'm going to do? What is it going to do for me to worry about it? So, yeah, so that's just the approach. But unfortunately, this is a practice that some people are, not there yet. And just accepting people where they are. We're going to encounter so many people in our lives, especially on the social media platform, that are not where we are, and we just hope to provide that room for them to get there, right? And hopefully guide, whatever, however we can provide the information and giving them ways to approach you know, and just understanding they may not be where we are. And when it comes to a lot of different things, just releasing, just praying. Sometimes the worst, and I think learning this, and we talked about this today in Gamma's chat, judgment. Judgment is a hell of, let me tell you, judgment can shut people down. Judgment is one of the most, through my studies and experience, one of the first thing that will shut people down, close people off. And I've heard him say so many times, I felt judged. A lot of people won't go to church. Main reason some people will not walk into a church is because of judgment. Isn't that something? The one place where you should feel less judged, most people will not walk into a church today because of judgment of their fellow peers. One in the chat or two in the chat if you disagree. Or three if you don't even think about it. But based on my experience, a lot of people shut themselves in, don't go get help, don't ask for help, don't go nowhere because of judgment. The one place that shouldn't be a no judgment zone, says Gamma, and that is the one place some people feel most judged. When you walk into a church and all eyes on you, and I hate to say it but that is, that's what I'm saying. Meeting people where they are and teaching and encouraging. Gamma had a good thing today, talking about judgment, and then I think somebody said you never know who. I think it was beautifully Blue's eyes. We never know who we are meeting, who that person is, who we're entertaining. So and then we talked about judgment without restoration. If I'm going to sit here and judge you because how you handle your issues and your problems, and I'm going to make you feel less before providing um, maybe some encouragement, some restoration, learning that, right? First of all, meeting people where they are. If there's somebody that's a worry wart and they tend to worry and they just don't know, sometimes we tell people, get to know God. You got to talk to God. You got to get to know God. But what do they know? Unless we're here to probably assist in providing further or reporting or helping. Sometimes when somebody says, well, you don't know, well, I guess that's no help for me because they said if I, sometimes we, how do you think about that? How do y'all feel about that? About when somebody says, I do this and I need this, and somebody just says, well, go pray. What is there any other? Is there anything more that we can add behind that? Because if they don't know and they don't understand, or do we have a duty or responsibility to follow up behind that? What do you think, Emma? If you're still in here, what do you think? If anybody in here, what do we think? Behind, if we meet somebody and we want to help them and they're worried and they want to talk, and we say just pray, what is behind that? Do we? How do we approach that? I guess depending on the situation. Yeah, knowing the person first of all, are they open to that? What are their beliefs? Because a lot of times, people belief system may have been impacted by people they have met in the past that may have had some exposure to a church, and they are not open to it anymore because of their past experience, right? Sometimes people have had experiences in church and with other Christians that may have left a bad taste in their mouth. So when we first tell people to do this and we don't know the person's background and exposure to what may have been something not too good, because they may have tried, right? They may have tried. So sometimes getting to know where that person may be at, because sometimes if we shut them off because they say, well, I don't know, I don't know about prayer, I don't know about that, because we don't know if they know anything, if they've been exposed to something. Because I'm telling you, I've been in situations where people, I've told y'all the story where people have been felt made to feel unwelcome just based on what they were wearing into the church, just based on their lack of understanding the Bible, understanding the teaching, and because they asked questions, they were made to feel silly. So we don't know people's exposure because the judgment they may have experienced. So now they're like kind of hesitant, or maybe, so we have to be, in my opinion, open to knowing where a person is and how they feel about it. And sometimes, because a lot of times, I run my mouth a lot. I run my mouth a lot, and I'm open to help to brainstorm. Most definitely, if I have a resource, I will offer most. Okay, so getting to know the different resources. I'm agree with Gamma on that. Sometimes brainstorming and offering different resources, not being set to one thing. Because maybe the way to help that person is to work around what they know already and what they don't know, and then offering different options, based on what their needs may be, if you're willing to help somebody in a situation where they are struggling and worrying and they're calling on you because they may see something that you may be. Sometimes people have an approachable personality, right? And people that may have had some bad exposure to the church or to people who call themselves Christians or whatever. But in the same sense, they can also have a sense of feeling comfortable with a person. That person may have that personality, that's something that just about that person that they feel that they can approach, talk to, and trust. So they may approach you or your channel because of something that they just feel, that sense of discernment, And sometimes some people do have that, and they feel that they can talk to you, they can approach you, and probably don't feel judged. Maybe they're not in that state of mind where they're ready, they're releasing everything to God, and you don't want to turn them away. You just, how do we approach those people that may approach our channels? And they may not be a believer or they may not be there yet. How do we approach these people as a person on a channel? If they start to question while our how we approach things when it comes to prayer, those things can happen sometimes. That could happen sometimes. You could bring people in and they may not be where you are, but they're willing to listen. So what if that person says, well, I'm not there yet? Do we turn them away because they don't believe how we believe? Do we walk away because they're not there yet, or maybe they just haven't been exposed to it yet, or maybe had bad exposure? Because there are people that are Christians, that are believers, but just had some bad situations happen and encounters in the church. But they just don't know what to do. And it still may, and it shouldn't interfere with the relationship with God. We know that. We know that. What other people do, we should all have develop our own relationship with God. But sometimes people are just not there yet. They don't have the understanding. They don't know. They had this exposure, and now they're just like where they are right now. And I know this is kind of off the topic a little bit, but this is how things in a channel where you are receptive and people do feel that they can trust you. You're going to have people that probably are going to approach you, going to listen in, and they want to know that this is a safe place to come and talk. Even if they're not where you are yet, they just feel this is a good channel. I like this channel. It feels safe. The host seems like they're open, even though I can hear that they have their Christian views and their belief, but they tend to be open. We may have people that come on our channel just like that, and we could be the avenue to listening and providing them a place to feel safe. I would never turn anyone away, says It's Gamma's World. Most definitely. We just don't know. Whoever. Sometimes when I come on my channel in the morning and I'm doing some breathing exercises or whatever I'm doing, I never know who's in that channel on that page listening. Who came across my page when I was doing my affirmation. When we're doing the affirmations, when we're doing the encouragement, encouraging people to hold on for the day. Take it day by day. It's not going to hurt. Stand on. Stand strong. Don't give up. I don't know who came and sitting in the skybox that day. I don't know who happened to stop by and just heard a word of encouragement, a word of a good affirmation, and they were able to make it through the different to the day. I told you guys before, I know I'm off the subject because I was worried one day, and I will always have this story to share. And you guys may have heard this story 100 times. I was on my work. I was working at the police department at the time. I was a police officer at the time. And where was I going? I was I was on my way to the station. I was working in North Charleston at the time. And I just saw it was pouring down rain. It was pouring down rain. It was raining hard. And I don't know why. I don't know why. And I never pick up strangers. I can't remember if I was in my car on my cruise. I'm getting confused. But I don't know why. I never pick up strangers. I never put strangers in my car. I never picked them up. Always had a thing about picking up hijackers. But for some reason, it was pouring down rain, and this I just stopped. And I was worried about something. I was worried. I had a lot of things going on in my head, and I just wasn't feeling good that day. But I was going into work. And this guy, I pulled over and I picked him up. Never picked up. He was a black man, young man, and he got in the car, and I didn't feel afraid. And he said, "I'm going into the city," and for some reason it was out of my way, but I was going to take him to the city. And we started driving, and we started talking, and then somehow it got on a spiritual type talk, and encouraging, and he was talking, and I listened, and I started to feel really, really good. For that brief moment, I don't know what he was saying, but whatever he was talking about, it changed my whole outlook. And then he said, "Pull over." I'm like, "I'm going to take you to," he said, "No, pull over. I'm good." I'm like, "It's still raining." He said, "I'm going to get out right here." He didn't take me out of my way so I would be late to work. Y'all, he got out of that car. I don't even know where that man went. But I know he had changed my whole outlook. I'm going to tell you how he impacted me, that I can still tell this story today. That man changed my entire spirit, my entire outlook, and that's why I believe you never know who you entertaining. Because he got back out in that rain, and I never seen that man again. "Hey, love and Lucinda, how are you?" I never, but I knew he had, for me personally, I believe he interfered with he came into my day, because I guess I would have never, how I would have went to work could have impacted somebody else's job. I could have went out there and made a mistake. I could have gotten somebody else hurt, because my mind was not there that day. I was worried about something. I was consumed about something. I just wasn't feeling it. He had to change my day around, because if I had got out there the way I had felt that day, I could have endangered somebody else's life, right? So I thank God, whatever that encounter, I felt it, and I was like, "Thank you, Jesus," at that time, because that man, whatever reason he got in my car, and whatever God directed me to stop and pick that man up, because I don't pick up strangers, and I have never picked up a hitchhiker since then, y'all. That was the first and only time I ever had a hitchhiker in my car. And so that impacted me to a point where I know that you just never know who you entertaining. And like, I heard this story, and I keep telling the story, I used to watch this TV show. Y'all remember this TV show with what's the lady with the angel and the doves? They were all angels. They were all angels. Y'all remember this TV show? They were all angels. The black female, she was a what was her name? She was a head angel. Y'all remember what I'm talking about? Is a dove? I can't think of the TV show. Um, it was a TV show with the black lady that played in Harlem Night. The Ella Reese. Ella Reese. It was her name Ella Reese on CBS. I mean, yeah, it was on CBS. I think her name was Ella Reese. Her name was Della Reese. Della Reese. Della Reese played the head angel, and they were all angels. And on this show one day, and this is another thing I never forgot. And the guy angel, remember the guy angel was on there, and he helped this young man. He helped this young man And I think the man was supposed to be like a spirit of like Jesus or something, or some type of inspiration like that. And he said to him, "Why didn't you tell me who you were?" And he said, "Would it have mattered if I did?" And I'm like, that was an impactful statement as well, because if you if he stepped out to help somebody and the person didn't tell him that they were this other angel or a likeness of maybe Jesus, he said, if I had told you, would have even mattered. That was powerful as well. So sometimes we, like I said, and I know this got way off topic, but worrying, but I think it all comes back full circle about things that we worry about, because sometimes um, we just never knew who we entertaining in this audience as content creators. I can almost tell you, especially with some of the things that you're doing, Gamma, I'm doing, Love and Lucinda, a lot of us, how we are approaching our channel, we're making impacts. We may not see the people in our audience, they may be hanging out in the skyboxes and stuff, but I pretty much think and I hope that what we do every day, coming out here with what information we have, what encouragement we have, that we may not even get to see it. We may not even get to see. Sometimes we sometimes people want to see if their things are impacting, but I also think sometimes there may be people that never drop down in our chats. There may be people just passing by for the moment, and we may have had a great impact on their lives, some way, somehow. I just believe that. I believe, and definitely I see it in us. Most definitely loving the center. There's a lot more of us. Those words, those things that we're doing, even the little small things that may not be like Lucinda. I saw you able to show your body today. You know how many people was looking like, man, that's strong. That right there, that's something that I wish I could do. And to have the courage, that is courage to get out there and to show people that I love me. Even though I'm working on my body, I love me enough that I can show you where I am. And and you may have brought some people into your channel just for that courage, that symbolism of power and courage to say, I'm not ashamed of me. I love me enough to even show you that I am working on me, but I love me enough and have enough confidence in me that I can show you where I am. So that was a powerful in itself. That gesture that you did was more powerful a statement without words. Okay? That was more powerful than words. Sometimes just our presence as content creators and the things and the actions we do can be more powerful than just words. So yeah, so like I said, uh, that's why I balance between my faith and my belief and my growth between people that are coming in and probably not where I'm at. So that's why I kind of like try to keep that balance. A lot of people coming because I don't want people to feel they have to be where I am, or you know, they may not be on that path yet, but I still want to have an open door because I wasn't on that path as much as I wanted to believe I am a good Christian. I am this and I am that. I still was not on the path that I thought I was on. I still had to come to some realization that, hey, you can try to play around all you want. You know that you're not doing what you need to be doing, and you know you wasn't right. You see what I'm saying? I can't honestly say that because I had to look back and go, wait a minute, hold up. Oh, Miss Holy Dandao. Okay? You weren't there. As much as you can go back and look, you weren't there. I didn't take many pillows, but I am going to start now, says Love Lucinda. I can, Gamma. Right, that's what I love most about Lucinda's chat is that she comes as she is, despite her confidence, she still puts it on the table, and that's real. Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, it's just what it is. Some people are there, and some people are going to get there. And like I said, it's just that judgment that can be so slight, can be so impactful. And that's why the conversation we had today in Gamma's chat was so. If you get a chance to go over there and listen to Gamma's live today on sin, and I think that the word, I think for me, the thing I took away from it, most of all, because that matters to me a lot, because judgment has interfered with a lot of people's healing, with a lot of people's life, and that's from based on experience. That is fact based on experience of the number of people I've encountered dealing with life is that judgment. And it's a powerful thing. And a lot of times people feel that they don't judge and judges this. We judge. We do. Even so slightly, we do. It may not look like the big open thing, but think about it. Think about the moment in time, even if you don't say it out loud, you may come into your head. You may be a thought that when we look at something, hear something, we may make a judgment on it, righteous or not. And I did hear somebody talk about righteous judgment, right? And that is a judgment of some type. When we're judging based on what God wants us should be like, what God plans is, what his words are. Now we say, okay, that's against God's judge. That is a true judgment, right? Because that's against God's work. That is a true judgment. There's nothing wrong with that, I believe, right? If you know, hey, that is against God's will, that's against his word, is that judgment? Is a righteous judgment? Agree or disagree? I'm going to piggyback on Gamma for a minute. Agree or disagree? Is there righteous judgment or righteous judging? If you out there beautifully healed, come on up out of here. What do y'all think? Gamma, piggyback off your live today? Because it all ties back in, because a lot of times people worry about these things as well. And sometimes we worry about things we have no control over, getting back to it. But it was a great live. It was a lively live, and like I said, took something from it, and and when you can implicate it, not implicate, you can use things from different content creators, and I have no problem with that. If I gather an idea or some type of inspiration from Gamma's channel or from Lucinda's channel, please don't get mad if I use your if I get inspired by your channel and piggyback and follow. A lot of people get mad, upset if somebody get inspired or piggyback off something that they may have talked about. I think is a good way of passing on and promoting as well. You know, because if I feel I got something from it and I can use it not only for me, but also promote that channel and also let them know how I got inspired to talk about what I want to talk about today. And so that's what I got from Yama's channel as well, inspiration. Because that may be something people worry about. Um, and I think that's a memory. I appreciate you. Thank you. No problem, Lucinda. I don't mind getting inspired, talking about things, and um, but I think that's probably a lot of times that interferes with people' mental health and getting help and worrying about what other people think, right? Worrying. A lot of times we worry about
what other people are thinking about us and what they're, and that's a lot of times for a lot of people. What do family members think about me? What do my friends think about me? What do my children think about me? What does this YouTube channel think about me? What do my supporters think about me? Why so, what it, you know, and people may not admit it, but some people do think like that. What is everybody thinking? What are they worried about? And, and some people are not willing to admit that they worry about this YouTube channel sometimes. Have I been there? Yes. I'm not going to say I have not worried about things that have happened on this YouTube channel. I have. Has it stopped me from living? No. But have I worried about certain things that have been said? Yes. I would not come out here and say I have not worried about certain things some people have said. Did it stop me? Did it impact me in a way? No. I may have worried about it, worked that out, and like, well, what the hell can I do about it? But it's not going to interfere with my sleep. It's not going to interfere with my life. But I've had some concerns about things on this channel. As a human being, certain things, even what I have done, has concerned me on this channel. You know, is it a worry now? No. Has it been a concern? Yes. And I guess that's the realest part about me is just recognizing how I have fallen short, where I've been at on this channel. You know, I have two justice. Yeah, we've been there. We've been there. And I am okay to admit that I have heard things, I've been concerned, but the strength of me and the patience and things that I've had developed that made me me before I came here, keep me intact. I'm not going to lose it all. So, what it done is built me. It made me even stronger, made me strengthen me. It delivered me. It made me stronger. It made me better than I was yesterday. And I got lessons learned. So, we learn how to navigate, how to move on, how to approach things, and how to build and keep going and letting go and recognizing. So, Gam, I know you Gamma and the Mean Green Team already miss me. What's up, Ray Ray? What's going on? And thank you for that $5 super sticker. How are you doing? So yeah, thank you. I appreciate that support. Y'all hit the like on that. So yeah, um, so we just take what we have learned and hopefully people that encounter us come in for a moment. For sometimes we may encounter people for just a few seconds and change. We may have a minute impact, 30 minutes impact somebody's life and never see them again, never seen them, never heard of them, but they came by and they took something from our channel. Isn't that great to maybe understand that too? That maybe there are people, strangers that we will never know that have came by on your channel, my channel, Gamma channel, Lucinda, and got something. It was just one person. It was just one person that we did not know that we may have had a positive impact. And then in the same turn, Gamma made you think about this. What about those negative things that I've said that may have impacted somebody that had nothing to do with this channel, with this stuff, but they stopped by and they heard me say something and it for some reason resonated with them and it could have had a negative impact. Taking accountability that there are things that I may have said that may have had a counter to somebody that just may have came by and like, dang, I didn't know all this was going on, man. This increased my anxiety today. Create my anxiety today. Awesome feeling. All right then. All right then. Yes, you sure do, Ray. You better know it. So yeah. So taking into account the good, the bad, and the ugly, you know, but we're growing. We're on our journey. We journey in loving Lucinda. We're on our journey and our growth and our spiritual growth and wherever we are right now. Um, you know, I'm just hoping that, uh, like I said, as my channel grows, the different people that come in feel welcome. Like I said, I don't know where people are spiritually in their life, and I don't want to be that person that leave them feeling uh, that they're less than me because they're not where I am, or they don't feel the way I feel, or they're not gotten there yet, and I don't know when they'll get there. It took, I know where my brother is in his life, and he would be talking to me, and I'm like, I'm just not there yet. I'm just not there yet. I'll get there. So me and him would have a lot of talks because he would be talking to me, and I just wasn't hearing it yet, y'all. I just wasn't there yet, so I wasn't hearing him. And so and I said, "Give me grace because I'm not there yet. I understand where you are. I understand I hear what you're saying, but understand, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet." And I had to get there. And so, when people are not even on your own path, even if they're not there yet, they may not be on your same path. Their path may look entirely different than yours. Sometimes people's journey take them through some real, they may get to that place, but sometimes their journey looks so different than ours. Their journey may come with more things than what we encounter in life. Their journey may be to a point where they may experience a little bit more trouble, a little bit more afflictions, a little bit more intensity, a little less. you know, you never know. Because our journey to where we are spiritually, or if they're going in that direction, is going to look totally different than mine, right? Their journey may not look like ours. Their journey may not look as bountiful and as all the everything may look totally different. Their journey may look a little harder than ours. They may have to go through a more bumps and grinds because that journey might be preparing them for something more than what God has prepared me for. Their journey may make them a little bit more tougher than when you're looking at somebody else's journey. Their journey may not be as smooth as yours because their journey might be preparing them for something completely more than they can handle than it was for me. Each one of our journeys based on we believe what God knows what we can handle and what He can bring us through and take us through, and it can look totally different. They may have to go through a little bit more bruises. I may have to go through a little more bump and bruises than Bam, than Gamma. Gamma may have a little bit less bumps and bruises than Lucinda, but their journey, each journey is different because it's building you for your strength, your patience, your discernment, all different. Because you're going to encounter differently, right? You're going to encounter differently. Your preparation is going to look different than mine. Your preparation, what I'm being prepared for, you may not be able to withstand that. What he preparing Gamma for and Lucinda for and Ray Ray for, I may not was able to withstand it. It might not be for mine. It may be too short or it may be too much. But mine's supposed to be just enough. Just right for me. It's supposed to be for me. Not Gamma, not Lucinda, not Ray Ray, not the stranger. My journey prepares me for what is for me, and I'm getting what I'm supposed to get along the way on that journey. And everything ain't promised to be bells and roses and unicorns. I'm supposed to get some bumps and bruises along the way. I'm supposed to be in that, possibly in that valley, but not alone. I'm supposed to walk through the storm, but not alone. Okay? Always never alone. But we're going to go through some storms, but we're never alone. We're going to walk through that valley of shadow of death, but we're not alone. Okay? We might be in a den, we might be in the fire, but we're not alone. But we're going to have some journeys. And there is a reason why it's hard for me to judge others, because people are on their own individual journey, not mine. Yeah. But we do judge. It's hard, but I'm gonna ask you, Gamma, do you never judge? I'm gonna be honest. Do you never judge anybody ever so slightly? I mean, in judgment don't mean have to be like steadfast. Like you ever just like, I wonder why. Well, what is this they're doing? Because I look at judging somebody, it's just might be even questioning their decisions. Or, I look at judging as so slightly as how that person feels. Not how I feel, it's how they feel. So if I'm thinking I'm not judging them, but what if they feel that I'm judging them? But no matter how slight it is, I could be judging them on the decision they made to buy a candy bar instead of buying an apple. That's slight of judgment. I may be judging them. Why aren't they, why did they catch the bus? Why didn't they buy a car? Think about that judgment, because I think for me, I guess for me personally, I look at judging as anything I see that I wouldn't do. Okay, how I feel about it, but then I'm imposing that on that person. Why that person making that decision? I'm questioning, and then if I tend to make a judgment, I think they're wrong. Oh, I wouldn't do that. Is that a judgment? Is that a judgment? If any slight questioning, it might, and not looking at as condemning, I'm just like, why would you do that? But it's not for me, it's how that person feels. Because that's how they receive it. And a lot of people may, even though my intentions were not to judge, but because I question their decisions, or maybe, and it could be so slight, they felt judged. To be honest, I don't judge out loud because I always consider my chat. So you don't judge out loud. Okay, that's different. That's different. The very thing I'm judging somebody else on could be innocent bystanders in my chat. So I respect my chat. So you don't judge out loud. Okay, okay, okay. So that's honest. If you don't make any comments out loud and you're able to do that, see, that's awesome. I know sometimes when I say things, I have to be conscious, but it can be perceived that person can feel based on my statements judge. So even if my statements are so slight, if somebody, you're good at that, Gamma, because I'm not good at that, and I'm not intentionally judging. But if I make a statement or I say something that might somebody may feel, oh, if I make a situation about financial situations and not this here and that, and it's real life stories, somebody may still feel judged, no matter if it wasn't intended to be judging. That's their feeling. That's how they feel, because you may not even direct that at them, but because of past experience in their life, because of past experience, they feel it's direct. And you may not, even though I may be talking about something and it's not directed at that person, but it is appearance of me talking. It sounds like a judgment statement, but it's not directly at you. That person can receive it based on their experience and past and their wherever they're at in life. I don't feel I know enough about a lot of people to judge, especially on this app. I feel very little of their whole lives, so I know that a glimpse of what they put out here is in the story. Yeah, but growing up, our family would question our thinking. I remember my uncle questioned me on buying a car, and he was right. So yeah, but see how you perceive that as an adult today? Okay, our kids. You question them sometimes, according to the intensity of it, and if it's something that is overbearing, young kids feel judged. Your kids feel judged when you question about their decision. Their friends, the friends they entertain, their boyfriends, their girlfriends, the choices they make in clothes, their haircut, what they doing, how they doing. These kids take this on. They feel a little judged. Why are you judging me? You supposed, accept me as I am. But they feel judged. But then as they grow up, they learn, and then some kids don't. They carry this into their adulthood, their adolescence, their adulthood, and into their relationships as well. But I think being that conscious is awesome. I just think for me personally, when I'm talking about certain things, I know I have a diverse audience, and so I'm hoping that when I'm talking about things, that it's not, if I directly state this is about you, but if I'm talking about stories or situations that are going on, it's going to be on that person how they perceive it, because we're going to have tough talks, we're going to have tough conversations, we're going to talk about certain things that people may have experienced, and if they feel like, hey, you know you talking about this seems like you're judging, then if I don't know, but it's a conversation that is out there that we're having, we got to take in mind that there are people that are going to feel that way anyway, and they let you know, then you can probably deal with it. But I'm the type of person, I'm just going to, we're going to have conversations. I'm going to be as a delicate, if not delicate, as tactful as possible. It took me a long time to get it, but I thank them now, says Lucinda. I don't know, feel, yeah, because sometimes as kids, we feel that's where judgment first starts as adolescents. The decisions we make and our relationships and our decisions. Well, as soon as we hit middle school and we decide we want to have these type of friends, our parents picked our friends and probably before, but now we're getting older and now we're out there making our own decisions. Our friends may not look like what our parents want our friends to look like. What if you start bringing friends home that wear all black? Think about those kids that all of a sudden they got a friend that wears all black. Or maybe they come home with a white all black friend. Or they come home with a friend that's got, in the 13 years old and got a full mustache. Think about what our kids go through when we were kids, how that felt. And it starts there, but hopefully it gets healthier as we get older, because as we know, if it becomes an unhealthy, toxic situation, it then tends to impact your adulthood and then your relationship as adult, because this stuff do carry over, and how we choose and how we adapt in our social life, right? These judgment as kids, if it becomes overbearing, it becomes to a point where it's bad, and impacts the child's mental health or health at all, the things that we're doing, whatever. Sometimes a child, you calling the child fat as a kid, they come lack self-confidence. Imagine calling a child fat as a kid, or making fun, or having a favorite, or saying something to a child that's overweight and stuff like that, and you the parent, and you're buying their clothes and stuff and comparing them to the kids down the street. That's judgment that this child is going to take. And if it's overbearing and it comes to a point where it's done, to a point where it causes stress, anxiety, it's going to go into that child's adult teenhood and then adulthood if it continues, right? And that all that judgment is going to impact how they feel about themselves. And uh, this is what we get out here sometimes. It's going okay, because what I'm about to talk about may seem a little judgmental, but a lot of behaviors we see out here are based on treatment as adolescents, as children, as even babies. A lot of the behaviors we see out here, judgment, yes. Is it possibly? Yes. A lot of behaviors we see out here, a lot of the attacks we see out here, some of it come from childhood exposure. Okay? Childhood exposure. The intensity of these attacks, the how bad it is, this is not something that just spurred out. This is judgment. Yes, it is there. This is something that came from way down the line. All right? Judgment or true observations. Or true observation. Yep. Judgment or true observation. I like that. Right? So, even so slightly, but then again, does it come with restoration? I like that as well. Because now, when we tend to make these observations or judgments, what do we do with it in the end? We can continue to take that information and continue to build destruction upon it, as this channel has done judging. We tend to not only judge but tear down to destroy, bury in the ash, kick that we want to do. We want to do it like a dang on cigarette butt. We just want to stomp, grind it in. We just ooh, okay. There's lots of childhood trauma that needs healing out here. Most definitely, most definitely, and we tend to see it come out with, like I said earlier in Gamma's chat, a lot of things that I did and said came with some convictions at times because I felt it. I'm like, this ain't right. And there's a feeling you get when you know you're wrong. Okay? When you know the things that you're doing and saying not right. And it happens immediately during the time that you're doing it. But trust me, that conviction comes and you like, oh, okay. In your heart, you feel it in your body, you feel it in your heart, and you know you got to correct that immediately. And that I've experienced that a lot out here. That's why you may see me go back and like, oh shoot, that let me. It's not that I. It's just sometimes something tell me, take that in too far, going too far. Let's do. So let's correct that. Let's take that, get that out of here. But again, um, thank God you have convictions and you corrected it. Yeah, many times out here that because if you lack that, I don't know what to say. But again, judgment. But I don't know. But that's where I am personally. I have to look at me. I think personal again, recognizing my shortfalls. Like we talked about, I can point out many things that I see out here, but also recognizing that I'm not perfect. I have my flaws as well, um, as well. So we not perfect out here. I'm not gonna claim to be perfect. Work in progress. Work in progress. And does that leave room for me to still come out here and do? Shouldn't. And that's not an excuse for me to keep coming out here and doing things, because that decision that I make is going to be conscious decision, not going to be a decision I'm like, oh no. Anytime, if I come out here and do something, it's the most definitely it's going to be based on I made a conscious decision to come out here and to say what I want to say at that point in time because that's how I felt. But does that say you get the right? Nope. I'm still wrong. Okay, still wrong. It's good to look at self. Yeah, you got to look at yourself. I'm not perfect out here. It doesn't give me room. Doesn't say I get to come out here and still do. But it doesn't say that I'm better than anybody else. Because a lot of people out here may want to do things differently, but again, it comes with where they are in their walk and their journey. And that's it. And who am I to tell anybody that they can't get in that walk one day or they will not be able to? Everybody has a story and everybody has a timeline. You know, um, and whenever they feel it, I can come out here and say, "Oh, that person didn't do." No, I'm not going to do that. I used to probably do it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not coming out here because everybody walk is different. Everybody's going to get there at their own time, and hopefully you get their own time and not too late. Uh, it's true. I believe childhood exposure plays a big part. It definitely does. It definitely does. It plays a part on our relationships, our trust, our how we trust people, how we expose ourselves to people, how we our confidence, our what appears to be confidence can also be self-conscious, not feeling too good about them, not feeling too good about yourself. Sometimes confidence has a sense of being low self-esteem, right? Confidence can mask, people can mask confidence, low self-esteem as confidence, right? I've seen that as well. What looks like confidence is definitely low self-esteem, but there's sometimes not recognizing the difference um, of low self-esteem, you know, and yeah, if you know what I'm talking about, uh, when some people being boisterous and loud and just it's just a whole type of different types of stuff. And this is not judgment. This is just true observation. Okay, true. I like that. I'm using that is just observation where we tend to think confidence and bravado as something that is confidence, but it's definitely a sense of childhood things that come through experiences, childhood, adolescence, or even adults, tend to come off sounding confident, but definitely display low self-esteem as well. Yep, that's just my opinion. Okay, that's just my opinion. Not saying that I'm right, but my observation. You know, very true. I believe childhood exposure plays a big part. Yeah. Uh, a lot of times, I talk about it a lot out here. Um, a lot of times, I've talked about what is it at? Um, out here again, and it's here, and it's definitely here. But again, like I said, it's definitely here. In here, and that's why, like I said, when I do come out and say things and do things, I do tell people a lot of times, be careful. And this is for anybody when we're information, just like I said, ripping band-aids. I try to approach things sometimes so that I am not wait a minute. I'm sorry, y'all. R. Kelly asked Trump to reduce 31 year prison sentence to executive clemency. I wonder if Trump is going to give R. Kelly clemency, or is R. Kelly going to talk? Wow. Um, I just saw that just now when I went on. Well, he letting all the drug dealers out and all the people that he letting all the other criminals out. Might as well let him out as well. Okay. So, a lot of times, before I came on here and I talked about ACE, and that is adverse childhood experience, and a lot of times people it looks look the things that people take for granted sometimes in a child's childhood can be very traumatic for that child, and those things impact that child not only through his growth but even through adolescence and even as an adult and developing relationships and how they respond in work and health, physical health. ACE, adverse childhood experience, can impact a child's physical and mental health through early childhood, going into adolescence, into adulthood, and there's 10 foundational ACE type based on CDC Kaiser study: abuse, physical, sexual, emotional; neglect, physical, emotional; household challenges, parental separation, divorce, incarcerated household members, domestic violence, household substance abuse, and household mental illness, exposure to school. We have other types uh, of extended ACE, and these are the things that when I did my trauma assessment, this is one of the skills that we used in assessing an adult childhood. These are some of the things we would ask them: bullying, community violence, or witnessing violence outside of the home; instability and trauma; natural disasters; refugee wartime experience; foster care placement; poverty; social determinant discrimination based on race or ethnicity. So when our kids are exposed to these adverse childhood experiences, it could have an impact on their lives. It can cause toxic stress, disruption of brain development, and leading to long term health issues such as chronic disease, mental health struggles, depression, anxiety, and high risk behavior. Um, so I've always talked about ACE on here, and a lot of times, this how so slight of things can impact a um, childhood and carry on to the decision making process and their interactions today as well. So, anybody familiar with ACE, adverse childhood experience? Cam, you have any experience with dealing with ACE? Because I know you've done a lot of childhood studies and teaching in early childhood, I believe. I believe that's your exposure to early childhood. Very true. I believe childhood exposure plays a big part, most definitely. Um, so yeah. So looking at ACE, and like I said, that's this trauma section that within the treatment plan developing stage of the treatment plan, this is the scale. This is what I would use as well in talking with an adult and finding out about their adverse experience, childhood experience. That's on the um, treatment when you um, setting up a treatment plan. That is a part of it. Is here as well. Uh, yep. Well, guys, I've been on here for 2 hours and 20 minutes. A lot we covered. I hope everybody's got something from it. Again, I hope this channel, like I said, I intend for this to be a safe space for people to come and be able to talk. Again, I also say be conscious and don't be so quick to want to. I know sometimes people can make you feel comfortable off and on this channel where you tend to expose yourself, information, personal information. Be careful. Be careful. Everything, we can come out here and we can chit chat, but be conscious of what you want people to know and why you want them to know. And we hate to say we want to be out here and be able to share, but sometimes this sector is not a safe place. We've seen that. We've seen what people can do with information, even if it's not true. They can take the information, what little you might share, and they can turn it into something that you ain't never said or ever heard before in your life. So just be careful how in these YouTube streets, in the streets of the real world. Okay, so this is Justice Reacts, y'all. Y'all have a great day. Be awesome. Be kind. Be the change you want to see in the world. And y'all have a great night. And I thank you guys for coming in and chiming in. And I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you. It's Gamma's World, Love and Lucinda. Y'all go check out Love and Lucinda. And it's Gamma's World. Thank you. It's Vi for coming in. Iconic, thank you. Ray, thank you. Um, a lot of people came in today, and I appreciate y'all stopping by. Those up in the sky boxes, thank y'all for coming in. Um, appreciate y'all as well. Um, yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys. Let's see. Maisha, was Maisha here as well? Thank you, Denise Pratt. Miss Dimple J, thank you for coming in. Uh, I'm a whole vibe. Black Coffee, thank you guys. Candy Jones, thank you, and Grateful too. Thank y'all. Appreciate you.